Hey guys! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Hello. My name is Mel. But if you're a returning subscriber, then welcome back. So today, I decided that I will start a series in my channel all about study permit application for Canada to become an international student. If you've been following my vlogs, then you would know that we recently got approved as a family to come to Canada as an international student. My kids and I will be holding a student permit while my husband will be under open work permit. My classes is yet to start. It will be in May 2023. I'll be taking Business Administration at Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, or SAIT for short. That is located in Calgary, Alberta. If you are interested to know what are the things that you need to do, what documents you need to prepare to apply for a study permit in Canada, then keep on watching. Okay, before we begin, let me just put out a disclaimer out here that I am not an immigration consultant. I am not in any way connected to any agency. Everything that we did, or the method that we did for our application, was all DIY, do it yourself. So you just have to really be patient in reading and researching everything, and make sure that you are only reading from legit sources, which number one is the IRCC website, or Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. So cic.gc.ca is the legit website of Canada Immigration. So everything you will find in there. And you can also join support groups, Facebook groups, group chats, and all that. I personally learned a lot from the Pinoy Canada Student Pathway. I will put the link below as well. I will put the link of the Facebook group and the Canada Immigration website down below for your reference. Okay, so that's that for my disclaimer. Now, what do we need to do? If you want to apply for a study permit in Canada, of course, or you want to be an international student in Canada, of course, you need to first decide on which province you want to go to. There's a lot of choices, so you have to do your own research. What are the pros and the cons of living in that province? Consider the cost of living, the healthcare benefits, and all that. And once you've decided which province you want to go to, then you can choose which school you want to go to. But not all schools are eligible, okay? You have to choose a school that is a designated learning institution, or as they call it, DLIs. Okay, there's a list in the IRCC website, which I will put below, or I will put the link below of that. There's a list of DLIs, but not all DLI schools are PGWP eligible. What does PGWP means? It's Postgraduate Work Permit. This means that after your studies, you will be eligible to apply for work permit. So not all schools will have that eligibility. So be careful in choosing the schools, because if you choose a school that is not PGWP eligible, then after your studies, you have to go back home. And that's not our end goal here. Our end goal is to become a PR, right, in Canada. So you need to have that work permit so you can gain the experience, and then you can apply for PR in the end. Okay, so choose your school wisely, make sure that it's a DLI, and make sure that it is PGWP eligible. You can see that from the list in the link that I will provide below. Okay, now that you have chosen your school, now you then decide which program you want to take, okay? Your program choice is very crucial in this application. It has to make sense, it has to show career progression, you have to be able to defend this program while you're taking this program in your study plan. Speaking of study plan, I will create a separate video on that, because the topic on study plan is very long, so I will discuss that in a separate video. Okay, so now once you have decided which program you want to take, now you need to apply for your acceptance letter or LOA, letter of acceptance, because this is what you need to submit when you apply for the study permit. So first, we are still in the stage of applying to the school. You need to apply for your, you need like, it's just like applying for your college or your university back in the Philippines, right, after high school. So you need to submit your diploma, your transcript of records. Some school will just require the college diploma and TOR or transcript of records, and that's fine. But some schools would also require your Form 137 and your high school diploma. Plus, you also need to submit a certificate of English as medium of instruction or MOI. Previously, in the past, the schools require English language exam or IELTS for applicants. But in the past few years, I believe, they have been more lenient and they accept the MOI or English as medium of instruction. So your school would know that. So go to your school, ask for these documents if you don't have any more, or if you just want an extra copy. You just have to scan, but there are schools that you have to send it by mail, like the original documents by mail. But in my case, in my school, they just needed a soft copy. Okay, so once you submit your application, some schools usually schools will have application fees to apply for, to get into the school. Usually the application fee ranges from $90 to $150. For my school, it's 150 Canadian dollars. Okay, so the processing time of each school differs from one school to another. So you wouldn't know. Based on my experience, the first school that I applied to only took around less than a week, and I had my letter of acceptance. But in this school that I will be getting into, it took a month and 2 days before I got my letter of acceptance. So each school has their own processing time, so just be aware of that. You really have to manage your time wisely. Okay, when you've chosen your program already, you have to decide which intake you want to attend to. So the intakes will be like the start of the school year or the start of the first sem. So like for me, I will be taking the May intake. There's also the September intake, and there's also January intake. So different schools as well have different intakes. So there's some school that starts in July, there's some school that starts in August. So, but for my school, it's January, May, and September. Everything will be written in the school's website. So you just have to read. You really have to read. Okay, so while you're waiting for your letter of acceptance, since we do not know how long it usually takes, I would suggest that you also start gathering other requirements, such as NBI clearance. So that sometimes that would take time, especially if you have a hit. And if you have lived abroad for more than 6 years, you also need to get a police clearance from that country. So if you were a previous OFW, and you lived there for more than 6 months, then you have to get a police clearance from that country as well. So you have to bear that in mind. And then what else? You need to do your medical as well. From what I heard, in the Philippines, it's quite difficult to get an appointment for medical. Not all hospitals are accredited by the Canadian government for the medical. So what I know is St. Luke's and NHSI, National, I don't know what it stands for. So these are the most common hospitals that I always read from the Facebook groups and the group chats that since I am based in Singapore, so I only know hospital is accredited here in Singapore, or not really hospital, it's a clinic, and that is Fullerton Health, that's located in Takashimaya or Nian City. So, but in the Philippines, there's in Cebu, there's in Baguio, there's in Ermita, I forgot what else, where else. So yeah, so try to call, the hospitals or the clinics and get an appointment, but you still need to, manage your time wisely, because we don't want to have your medical too early or too late. It really depends. Okay, so the other documents that you also need to prepare is your certificate of employment from the previous companies, or even if you're still actively working, from the company you're working with, especially if you will declare that in your study plan. Like I said, the program choice must make sense, and it must give you a career progression. Like the visa officers want to see, like, what would this program do to your career? Will it boost your career? Will it, take you to the next level? So if you will declare your previous positions in this company, and you want to say that I'm taking this program for a promotion, so you have to declare these companies and your job position and everything. So whatever you declare in your study plan, you must accompany it with a proof. So if you said that you work for Apple as a sales assistant, then provide a certificate of employment saying that you were an employee of Apple and holding this position, a sales assistant position, something like that. So anything that you will declare in your study plan, you must show proof. Okay, so in terms of the documents needed for your proof of funds, of course you would need to submit bank statements, bank certificates. Well, the bank certificate is optional, it's not required, but based on the guidelines from IRCC, they want bank statements at least 4 months. For us, we submitted 6 months bank statement. And what else? That's basically it. So but then if you have a bank statement and there's inflow of money, you have to justify where that money is coming from, right? So you have to support it with payslips, support it with COE, and your COE would also state how much is your monthly or your annual salary, doesn't matter. ITR to show their annual earnings. And what else? That's basically it for bank documents or proof of fund documents if you are self-funded and most of your fund is coming from employment or savings, right? But if you have an online business as well, you are working full-time and you have an online business, or if you have a business and you're not working, so the documents that you need to submit would be your DTI, your business registration, barangay clearance, mayor's permit, and financial statements of your business, and the bank documents of your business. If you have a sponsor, like, for example, those youngsters, like fresh graduates, of course, they haven't had jobs yet, they don't have enough savings yet. What proof of funds can they show? They can be sponsored by their parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, godmother, godfather, their neighbor. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a blood relative. They can be a sponsor as long as they can show financial capacity to sponsor. So if you have sponsors, what do you need to submit? Okay, it's the same thing as like if you're self-funded. So they have to submit their bank statements. They have to submit, like, prove that they are able to sponsor you. So like payslips, COEs, ITRs, or if they have a business, they're not employed but they have a business, their business documents, their bank bank documents of the business, the financial statements of the business, just anything to prove that they are able or they are capable of sponsoring your studies. So those, and not to mention an affidavit of support. This has to be notarized. Well, it's not really one of the requirements if you will look at the IRCC guidelines, but it is good to have. At least it is legally binding, and the visa officer can see that, oh, this person really is committed to sponsor this student. They had an affidavit, a notarized one, so that would be a plus. Okay, another part of your study plan, when you write your study plan, is your home ties. What are your ties to your country, to your home country? Okay, you have to remember that when we apply for a study permit, this is under a temporary resident visa, okay? And since it is only temporary, you have to prove to the visa officer that you have strong ties to your home country. There are strong reasons for you to go back to the Philippines. For example, in my case, to the Philippines. We are living in Singapore, but we cannot use ties to Singapore because we are not citizens here, we are not permanent residents here. So there's no guarantee that after studies we can come back here and, you know, get a job again, like for example for my husband. So your home country is where your citizen. So your home country is your country of citizenship. So in our case, we submitted land title for a property that we have, a conjugal property. We submitted our insurance. I don't really know, or I don't know why this is considered like as home ties, but this is what I usually see from Facebook page, the people that, you know, share their experiences, share their timeline and their approval, what documents they submitted. So a lot of them added, you know, their life insurance in the Philippines, so I added mine. And then I also got a St. Peter insurance, or what do you call this, a memorial plan. Government contributions, we have government contributions since we worked in the Philippines since 2002, but we left Philippines in 2009. After that, we paid, you know, SSS, only SSS. And then when I got pregnant, yes, I paid SSS, PhilHealth, but not consistently. So if you will look at my contribution table, there are lots of, you know, missing payments. But I did not include the screenshot of the contribution itself. You can just include your member data record, the one that you can see from the website. Just screenshot it that says you are an active member. It's the same thing that I did for my PhilHealth. And for Pag-ibig, I had to go personally because I don't have an online account, because maybe that time when we left the Philippines, it's not a thing yet. I don't know. So I cannot create an account that time. So when we went back home to the Philippines last August, we went to a Pag-ibig branch and we got, you know, the member data record. And that's all I submitted. Plus the ID. So I have PhilHealth ID, I have the UMID in replacement of my SSS before, and that's it. And then if you are someone younger and, you know, your parents gave you a property, so you have a property under your name, you have to have a deed of donation for that. That's a legal document saying that this parcel of land is donated to you by your, you know, the names will be there and all that. So any legal documents, deed of donation, deed of gift, I think. If your parents gave you money and you put it in your bank, You can do the deed of donation. And yeah, so because the you cannot just apply and have like 5 million in your account and not explain where it came from. I have seen, cases like that, like a solo applicant having 2 million in the bank account and still got denied because they did not show proper documentation, where the funds are from. If there was a bulk deposit in the account, it wasn't explained properly. They didn't attach any like deed of donation if it was given by somebody, so like that. And to add, if you were given a cash gift, because for example, there are cases where the parents sold a property, and that the cash from that sale they give to the child. If you are going to do that, make sure that you have the deed of donation as well as a deed of sale to prove that that money came from the sale of the said property, something like that. So there's a lot of documentation that you need to gather first, especially if in the proof of fund area. So you make sure that all of that are covered. So yeah, I guess I have covered everything, all of the documents that you need to you need to prepare. We are still in the preparation stage. Okay, so if you have all these documents that I mentioned, you can create your GCK account. Well, actually, creating the GCK account, you can do it at any stage. Even if you don't have an LOA yet, even if you just want to see, you can already start creating a GCK account as early as now. It doesn't really matter. But if you're ready to apply, you would need a GCK account, because this is where you launch your application. There's another portal which is called an IRCC portal, but I am not familiar with that because that portal does not support, as far as I know, does not support a family application. It's only good for a solo application. So I didn't bother going through that. But you can search on Google or on YouTube. For sure, there are people who made tutorials on how to apply through the IRCC portal. So, speaking of GCK, that will be my next video. How to lodge or submit your application through the GCK. Okay, so if you're interested to learn that, make sure you subscribe and you hit the bell button so you'll be notified when that video comes out. And don't forget to like and share this video to someone you know who is interested to apply for a student permit in Canada. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helped, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!